Hello, welcome to the educational seminar. My name is Mustafa, and I'm here with Brahm from Forklift-Simulators. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about virtual reality, education, and the logistics industry, and how these areas are converging together. On today's agenda, we'll start with a brief introduction about virtual reality. We're going to talk about where the technology was and where it's going. We're also going to have a special opportunity to talk to some of the early pioneers in the space, and they'll share with us how they have actually implemented virtual reality, and they will discuss some of the learnings that they have discovered along the way, as well as some of the results they were able to achieve. After we meet with some of our leaders, we're going to hold a 10-minute Q&A session to answer any of the questions you may have. But first, we'll go ahead and jump right into our presentation. Embracing new technology has always been a key component to the progress and evolution of modern day society. It has influenced the way that we communicate, do business, travel, learn, work, play, educate, and so much more. Learning to embrace new technology has always been a challenge, but history has shown us that those who can innovate are rewarded with valuable benefits that enhance the way people live and do business. Just think, it was only 10 years ago, the very first Apple iPad was introduced to the world, and many of us then were still considering whether we should buy our first smartphone. Today, virtually every one of us now owns and uses a smartphone on a daily basis. The rate of our improvement is quite remarkable. But today, we're going to talk about the recent breakthroughs in modern day VR and how it's being implemented in the classrooms, businesses, and dojo training rooms to really train and prepare our next generation workforce. Virtual reality represents the next generation of computer technology that will impact our daily lives the same way that smartphones have done for us in the past. Let's be clear, VR is happening now and it's here to stay with us. Today, we see it being used across a wide spectrum of industries, like from healthcare to military, aviation, video games, media, space exploration, and so much more. Since COVID-19, health and safety has taken on a new focus and is at the forefront of sustaining our human existence. Importantly, we need to address how we can prevent these dangerous occurrences from happening again, but also understand how we can be more proactive about it. Modern day virtual reality has proven itself to be a well-suited vehicle for training, especially when the improvement of one's skills requires frequent repetitions, and especially those that are expensive, dangerous, and at times mundane. By unifying impactful technology with clever gaming techniques, we can rejuvenate the learning experience in an engaging manner that resonates with a whole new generation of people who grew up finding joy in playing video games. Virtual reality allows us to interact in simulated worlds that replicate our real one. By engaging our senses through vision, sound, and touch, VR allows us to participate one-to-one with the jobs of today and the jobs of the future.
Thanks, Mustafa. So today we're going to talk specifically about what virtual reality and immersive learning can do for logistics jobs. So quick word on ourselves. We are Forklift-Simulator. It all started 6 years ago when we won the ProMat Innovation Award in Chicago. And now 6 years later, our product of Forklift-Simulator is running at more than 100 companies and institutions to screen, train, and inspire operators. Of course, working with all those companies gives us a lot of insights. We learned a lot, and we want to share that, of course, with you. So if I could sum up this past 6 years in one image, it would be this one. So this is a facility we visited. And in this facility, they have between $500,000 and $1 million damage a month with forklift incidents, pallets dropping, and so on. It's half an hour past the shifts. Normally, within 2 minutes, everybody's gone. But here, all these young guys are still standing around the simulator, discussing, engaging, just look at their faces and why they all want to get a gold medal. So this is a very engaging way to talk about safety. And we think that is the key. It's clear that virtuality is practical, safe, and can be very data-driven, but you should not underestimate the gamification and engagement and what it does to people. So instead of us doing the talking, we invited two of our star customers, two people who really cracked the case and are getting great results. And we want to hear their stories and what they did, because we feel now that a lot of people, they want to implement virtual reality, not only forklift driving, but there's so many use cases, but they still don't know how to do it. Like, how should I go about? What are some practical considerations? And next to that, how do I sell it to others? What are kind of the results I can expect? And I think those two questions will really be answered in today's talk. And because we think engagement and gamification is so important, we also want to present it a bit as a game. So I would say, let's start.
I'm Kristen Bevins with ProLogistics, and I'm the Division Vice President. ProLogistics is the largest logistics staffing company in the nation. So we put about 25,000 forklift drivers and warehouse personnel to work every week.
I'm Aaron Bowdy with Ivy Tech Community College. I'm the Vice President of Business and Supply Chain that works to develop curriculum and training in the business and supply chain business sectors.
We started investigating immersive learning to help with the labor shortage, especially with stand-up reach forklift operators. And we were looking at avenues and methods to be able to train people in a really safe environment. And that's what really interested us in the virtual reality.
What we were running into at Ivy Tech was we had a lot of industrial, specifically manufacturers, that were wanting forklift training. And we had a cost differential between what they were willing to pay and what it cost to deliver. So we really had an issue where the cost for us to deliver regular forklift truck training was way too high.
That was pretty interesting, actually, at ProMat, and just walking around and seeing some of the programs, getting very interested, and kind of looking at what different methods could we use to train some of our forklift operators or assess their current skills. And the virtual reality was amazingly realistic. It was easy to use, and it was exciting new technology. And we thought maybe we could utilize that to actually attract even younger generations.
We've seen immersive learning used in the virtual reality environment. We were using it for tours, not interactive, not necessarily for training, but for awareness. We've done some things with VR in the past where you have the 360 camera and they walk through a manufacturing environment to give people that have not been, whether it be younger people or people who have just never been in a manufacturing environment. We were trying to introduce them to it and, as complete a way as possible without having to transport them and arrange tours and go through all that. So we did do some of that with the 360 viewing, but it wasn't really a learning, it was more of an awareness.
We did a lot of pilots. The first pilot we did was with about 200 people, and it was a two-sided pilot. One was to make sure that virtual reality didn't offer any advantages to people based on age or gender or their gaming experience. And the second one was to see how realistic it was. So we put people on VR, took them off and put them right on the piece of equipment that we were testing them on to make sure that what we were seeing was what real life was going to reflect. And we were really surprised at how accurate it was. And we were also very pleased to see that the VR didn't offer any kind of advantages for anybody who didn't actually have forklift experience.
We were very lucky that we had a case study outside of our college with the Career Center at the high school south of Indianapolis that they were using it. They provided a great example. They were using it in an environment very similar to what we would use it. They had manufacturing students that were doing their manufacturing training, whether it be electrical, mechanical, and those types of skills. And they had also indicated that out of the, I think, 30-some in the class, 18 had job offers. And these are high school students. When they were of age and at 18, old enough to work in the manufacturing environments, they were already getting offers to be forklift operators because of the training on the simulator. So we were just very encouraged by that example, and it was very relevant to us, even though it was younger high school students. It really translated well to the college environment. And since then, we've come up with a lot of different ways to use it.
Our second pilot we did up in Columbus, Ohio, where we had a lot of clients looking for a ton of stand-up reach operators. And so what we did is we brought them in and got their buy-in to the program. We tested a lot of people. One of the things that we found that was really exciting from the first pilot was that we could actually test somebody's aptitude, even if they hadn't ever operated a forklift. In about 5 minutes, we could test whether or not somebody had a really high aptitude to learn how to operate a forklift and do it really well. And so we brought people in, we tested people, we put them out at our client sites, and we placed probably somewhere between 200 and 300 people in our client sites using just forklift VR to test their skill levels and assess their abilities. And our clients aligned with exactly what we saw on VR with what they saw at their client sites.
We had industry members come through in hour increments all day and got feedback from industry. Could try to validate what we were thinking, is that it was going to be extremely valuable training. So by bringing in the companies, going through and getting the feedback that day, letting them actually use it, experience it, talk about how they may use it, that, again, validating that they had value in it, allowed us to make the decision that this is going to be a good avenue to go down. The next was funding, and we worked with the Purdue, Indiana Manufacturing Center, and they saw the value in it too. So it really evolved by demonstrating the value on the front end and getting our partners involved, both industry and another educational partner, along with Indiana Manufacturing Center, and then getting it funded, purchasing them, and then deploying them throughout the state.
I think mostly it's just not understanding virtual reality or understanding immersive learning and some of the nuances. Some people get motion sickness. And what we found is most of the time, if you just let them do it in small little, like 5-minute or less increments, people overcome that and actually love it, end up really doing well in it. I think also the VR for us is a tool. It's not a replacement for our trainers. It's a tool for our trainers to really reduce the training time and to assess people in a really safe environment that's inviting.
Well, I would definitely engage industry in the front end because they're the key. We're training people to go into the workplace. So having your industry partners go through and sample the simulator, make sure they have value and that they're going to use it. There'd be nothing worse for a community college than getting any type of training simulator or a piece of equipment that industry doesn't value. I don't perceive it'll be an issue, but you definitely want to make sure that your prospective partners in this venture have been brought in early so that they can vet it and be invested on the front end. That way, when you're ready to go, you have that set of partners ready to go.
When you're you're investigating immersive learning, make sure that you really are setting up a room or an environment that's conducive to learning, that you have great trainers that understand the nuances of immersive learning and are patient. Make sure that you allow the participants the time to get used to it, and make sure that you kind of make it a fun environment. Younger generations love the game of it. Older generations are kind of a little bit more standoffish, but I think that they understand, like if you allow them to come in and kind of take a look at it, actually they're adopting that even faster than we expected.
They like it a lot. The instructors love it because we're skilling up students to get jobs while they're still at college. This is relatively quick.
We're doing a really big project with a very large logistics company. And a couple of the individuals who didn't have any forklift experience were voluntold to kind of come and participate in the VR program. And they were really, really nervous about it. You know, they're overwhelmed by seeing a 3,000-pound piece of equipment and somebody telling them, you're going to be operating this now, or you're going to learn how to operate this. And so they were really kind of standoffish and a little nervous and scared. After like the first session for about 10 minutes, they were sold. And what this client found is that they were able to take their workforce, train them in a safe environment that allowed them to progress at their own speed with a trainer that was really supportive. And they were able to actually offer career kind of opportunities for people and also to be able to make more money, something that those people would never have had that opportunity before. And their fears would have prevented them from exploring that. But during VR, you know that you're not going to get hurt. You know that you can take those really needed calculated risks to learn how to operate it, and they're doing it. And we're really excited about the results, and the employees are incredibly excited to the point where our classes are all now full. We have 3 classes a day, 5 days a week. They're all full. And we're looking at adding more VR units to accommodate all the people who want to learn. For the most part, it's really drastically reduced the time and the training. You could have one trainer training like 5 to 10 people or more, and really giving great tips. People learn while watching other people.
So we really looked at the competence of these students as they got into, because really where it really matters is when that student goes to the employer and how much they gained. We know that on a physical operation, you know, we're not going to get them 100% on virtual reality you can just set them loose. But what we were hearing from an industry in a general percentage was 80%. So we've taken out 8/10 of the training. That's awesome.
And that's a huge savings for a lot of trainers and a lot of companies. And they're really liking the results. When the people are getting on the equipment, they're really confident on it. And all they have to do is learn some of the nuances of their warehouse. We're looking at expanding that into how do we introduce people to environments using VR. You know, if you have to walk on, you know, a mezzanine where you have to see through the bottom, are you afraid of heights? Really introducing them to environmental, as well as some of the job tasks and some of the pace of the job of what they're doing. We're looking at incorporating immersive learning to help us with that, so that people know a lot more about the job before they get there, which saves a lot of people time and makes them a lot more at ease on their first day or first week when they're starting the job.
Where we're actually developing scripts and programming VR technology, so a student, and it's geared specifically towards technicians. So the people that have great technical skills, but maybe not soft or professional skills. And so we've done these scripts where they can actually go in the manufacturing environment and within the VR environment actually interact with people in different situations so that they can gain practice as realistic as possible on how to deal with confrontation, superior customer service, better ways to train or explain things. That way, when these technicians go through this VR, they're just better rounded superstar employees, both on the technical side and the people skill side.
it's going to train people in a safe environment where they feel comfortable learning at their own speed without getting hurt or injured or injuring anybody else. Two, it is a better way of learning because they're in the environment that they're going to be working. And I love it when somebody comes off the simulator and they go, wow, that was so realistic. I love that, and they really felt they were in a warehouse operating a forklift. And so I really feel that, especially with the new generations, really showing them what the job can be. And we can do this remotely. We can have centers where people can come in and look at things. So it really, it allows a lot more of the public or people who are interested to come see it. It allows them to see it in an environment that's safe and not threatening. And it allows them to make better decisions on their career paths.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more VR used in colleges. It really allows us to be immersed in environments that are very expensive to duplicate at the college or unrealistic or just impossible to implement at a college. So by bringing the environments into the college through VR technology, it makes it much more accessible to our student. It lets us reach many more students. It allows flexibility in the teaching and the introduction of those environments. So I think it'll be used a ton more for awareness to introduce students to an environment they haven't been in before, training, where we can train in what a simulated environment of which they'll be in eventually. And then also it allows them to connect with employers.
Thanks. So what are some of the learnings we've seen? It's very clear that you have to engage. Engagement is key, not only for the students or the employees, but also other people involved. These can be your trainers, this can be other staff, this can be your industrial partners you're working with. So having everybody on board is important. Secondly, this is brand new technology, a brand new way of learning. So in a way, it's a bit of change management. So taking your time for the trainers to learn a tool, having the right room, having set up the right way. These are also crucial things. Because thirdly, both of these people who use it a lot got new ideas. We can use it for that. There's other use cases. So that creates a lot of energy and drive to come up with new things. These are some learnings. Secondly, what are some of the results? And we've not only seen this with forklifts or in logistics immersive learning, but down the road, PwC did a very nice study, really in depth, to put metrics behind learnings, and they really fit what we see in the field as well. First of all, because people are engaged, they build up a lot more confidence. They learn better, they can concentrate better, people have more confidence, and confidence also results in better training results. So you start to get an industry average that with immersive learning, you can go 3 to 4 times as fast as normal learning. Of course, if you can deploy that scale, there's a lot of costs effects you also get. So all in all, these are some of the results that can come out of a good setup and good learning. Normally it would be game over now, but it's not really game over because now it's your turn to play. So we open the floor for like 10 minutes of Q&A.